Chrono Odyssey is happening, and let me explain why that should be really exciting. You're gonna love this, trust me. When initially the trailer for Chrono Odyssey came out, no one believed in it. I didn't believe in it, and everyone looking at it said, yeah, this must be fake. Because it simply looked too good. It looked too good, it looked too ambitious, it looked already, honestly, too polished for the state that the game is supposed to be, and the mechanics, well, the mechanics were supposed to be time manipulation, and while that does not really sound too interesting because it already has been done, in multiplayer, yes, a game that's centered around time manipulation was supposed to have serious multiplayer elements. Yeah, no one believed that this thing is going to happen, and now it's happening.
Since my last Chrono Odyssey video, we've had some pretty big news, and things seem to be moving quickly for this upcoming MMORPG. On the 19th of May, we got a closed beta announcement trailer showing some new footage, as well as confirming that the Chrono Odyssey closed beta test will be taking place sometime in June. So definitely go sign up for the playtest via Steam if you haven't done so already. Aside from that, yesterday we got a 20-minute developer interview that revealed a bunch of new information, as well as showing off actual in-game gameplay with UI elements for the very first time. In this video,
Yeah, if you can't tell, kind of essentially Dark Souls-esque, but a little bit different movement, a little bit different freedoms and whatnot. So, like Dark Souls, but it's supposed to stand out enough to not exactly be a like one-to-one thing.
I'll be breaking down the developer interview and giving my updated thoughts on what's been shown at the end. But first, support the content by listening to today's sponsor.
No.
Now. So, starting out, we're introduced to the executive producer and one of the product managers. It's said that when they started developing Chrono Odyssey, the goal was to make overall progression just as enjoyable as endgame content. We see a clip of the character select screen which shows the Berserker class, which specializes in
Damn, look at that! A Norse-looking dude. And he's not even black. That's kind of rare for modern day gaming, I'm not gonna lie. So we don't have to instantaneously, we don't have to worry about woke in this game, which already puts it above a lot of things, honestly, right?
3 weapon types: the chain blades, twin axes, and battle axe. We're then shown the
My dude is literally Kratos, but that's fine, okay? And mommy's here also.
assassin class, which has access to the saber, wrist blades, and musket. It's said that rather than focusing solely on competitive aspects, the devs wanted players to explore the world seamlessly without loading screens, enjoying things like wandering in the woods, cutting trees, fishing, or grouping up in the open world to fight monsters. The world of Chrono Odyssey isn't your typical fantasy setting. It's an eerie, imposing world that evokes a sense of
Yeah, there's a lot of macabre here and, you know, Cthulhu-esque fleshy bits and parts, which is kind of cool. I like that.
dread and wonder. The devs drew inspiration from the cosmic horror vibe of Prometheus, as well as the palpable fear of an encroaching threat to humanity similar to the Zerg from StarCraft. The story of Chrono Odyssey unfolds in a world called Cetera, a realm where past and future collide. Here, the very laws of reality come undone as gods, humans, and unknown entities known as the Void come to a head. In the absence of divine order, the boundaries between dimensions collapse, giving
Yeah, this is what we saw initially. Oh, I mean, if they don't have jiggle physics, I'm personally honestly out, okay?
rise to war and invasions, and it's this vast scale of chaos and despair that the devs say sets Chrono Odyssey apart from traditional MMORPGs. As the protagonist, you'll stand against formidable foes and travel to both the past and future to alter the fate of Cetera. The developer's goal was to immerse players in an epic narrative where they can
Okay, and initially when you saw the trailers, there were all this is open world. You're supposed to be able to travel to that big thing right there. And again, the scale of this game did not seem real.
figure was another inspiration for Chrono Odyssey in how it used the concept of time to prevent a cataclysmic event. The producer then talks briefly about why they chose Unreal Engine 5 for Chrono Odyssey, and the most
To make it 300 gigabytes so everyone can have fun.
Motivation is primarily that the engine allows them to create the most immersive and realistic worlds for players to explore, whilst also creating dark atmospheric environments. In the footage shown, we see characters traversing the environment via mantling, climbing, and using some kind of ability to hover. We see chrono gates, structures which are said to appear man-made, but they're not. And we're also shown some void areas which look like something from a sci-fi horror. Next, the producer talks about how they want players to create their own stories through the adventures and exploration.
You know what's the thing about these games? The story gets me excited because lost through in a civilization invading something, kind of an easy story, but it's so easy to make it just plain and mundane. I hope the story is gonna be good for this. Okay, there's a lot of potential for visual storytelling. There's not a there's a game like this is just not hack and slashing. Just it's also a very cool story can be told here, and I hope they do a good job at it.
They choose. He says traditional MMORPGs often rely on a fixed main questline which forces players to follow the same path. But with Chrono, they took a different approach that allows for more freedom. The Chrono Tector allows players to trace remnants of the past or catch glimpses of the future. With this, players can reveal hidden paths. The game will have a main questline, but aside from that, players can enjoy a variety of other content whilst leveling, including trials, labyrinths, and field bosses. It's said that players can gain XP through most in-game activities, and it's even possible to reach max level via gathering and crafting alone. Whereas other
Oh, there we go, Mr. Pandari tutorial level Mac. Oof, it's gonna happen.
MMOs haven't always been so friendly to players who enjoy non-combat activities.
This also the gathering kind of looks like New World, and when gathering looks like New World, that gets me excited. Okay, New World, not a good game, not at all. Kind of shit actually. But its gathering system, mwah, oh. The sound of that pickaxe, this ching, ching, oh. It was so good, boys. Okay? So, if a game just makes their professions one-to-one be like New World, I'm down. I'm down. Stealing is good, okay? I did, I said it.
Which is why they built a system where players can progress through both exploration and crafting. In this game, you choose your own playstyle and progress in a way that best suits you.
The gathering seems pretty okay, but okay, the gathering circle?
In a way that
Look at that.
best
I want that boy to be thick, you know what I'm saying? How big that pipe, boy?
Suits you. It's said that
And I don't want the answer here to be small, leave me alone.
they've minimized in-game guidance to incentivize players to discover the world for themselves. And on screen, we can see the Ranger character sheet and can confirm the Ranger has access to the
Bow, crossbow, rapier. Oh! Oh! Yes.
bow, crossbow,
Now, admittedly, I want a stealth character with knives.
and rapier weapons. Next, the producer talks about how Chrono Odyssey will not force players into the fixed role of tank, healer, or DPS like traditional MMOs. Chrono Odyssey uses an action combat system with parry and dodge mechanics, and is designed in a way that every class can contribute in their own way. It's also said that rather than going for traditional large-scale MMO PvP content, Chrono Odyssey aims to deliver a unique PvPvE system that's more small in scale. He says Chrono Odyssey is built for smaller scale play. Initially, they planned on having the Trinity system, but later in development they realized that for their combat system to work,
People are ditching the Trinity system, healer, DPS, tank, because, I mean, it just doesn't work.
they'd need hybrid classes. This is done via the game's weapon swapping system, which allows for more flexibility when it comes to playstyle and role. They also acknowledge the importance that tanks and healers are able to play solo, and that players don't always need to be in a party to progress. Combat in Chrono Odyssey revolves around a weapon swap system, and instead of skill chaining, players are encouraged to switch between two weapons during combat to maximize damage output and ability usage. There's a boss early in the game that's intended to show players that weapons
If you can't, and so if you look closely here, we can see one skill and another skill, and every part has four options, which is pretty neat. New World had 3 with like 5-minute cooldowns in between and was boring as shit. No one liked it. 4 seems better. 4 seems more like, what's the game called? I forgot. Let me look it up into my library. What was it called? The newest one that was pretty good, but kind of slowly died out. It had PvP content. It had everything. Why can't I find it? It should have been here somewhere. Hmm. Well, I can't figure out what it was, but it was a Korean MMO, I guess. It was pretty fun, but it had a similar system to this, and it worked really well.
Switching is necessary due to long skill cooldowns on single weapons. The goal here is that combat in Chrono is easy to learn and hard to master, with each weapon offering a distinct playstyle. Weapon swapping also grants passive buffs. The developers didn't want combat to rely heavily on skill numbers or UI elements, but instead the focus is on learning the attack patterns of enemies, understanding your own combos, and executing them in a way that's similar to that of an action RPG. Rather than creating too
That sounds good.
many skills, they designed each one to have multiple functions, with some being designed to have situational usage. As for the closed beta test, we can expect the following core gameplay features: single-player content in the form of chrono gates and trials, and party-based content in the form of expedition dungeons and region bosses. Single-player content requires players to rely on skill and strategy, and are designed to push players to grow stronger and improve their skills. Chrono gates are one-on-one battles against powerful void apostles. Players must learn their attack patterns and
Nice.
respond accordingly. The difficulty of chrono gates is supposed to be high, but so are the value of the rewards. Trials are another form of single-player content where players travel across time and space to tackle puzzles, traps, and randomized mechanics, creating a new experience with every run. Along the way, expect to refine not only your combat skills, but also your creativity.
Throne and Liberty. There we go. I remember. Throne and Liberty. Throne and Liberty combat system was pretty decent. Except the fact if you were playing with daggers and you teleported behind your opponent, your camera did not go where it should have. You kept the camera in the same way, which was absolutely ass. Okay? Yeah, they messed up that real big. But Throne and Liberty had really decent progression systems, and if this similar system is similar to it, I think it's gonna be good. I think people are gonna like it. Yeah, sure, Throne and Liberty had some minuses, had some negatives. It was a little bit grindy and was kind of unforgiving if you wanted to swap at a point. But all in all, it was pretty good. It had way more upsides and positives than negatives. So, if this game does it and doesn't have the same pitfalls as, for example, Throne and Liberty, it's gonna be real good.
And decision making. As for party-based content, this is designed to emphasize teamwork and strategic coordination. Expedition dungeons are designed for 3-player parties, where each player takes on a unique role, making teamwork essential. Unlike large-scale raids found in traditional MMORPGs, Chrono Odyssey offers a more focused co-op experience that's said to deliver tactical gameplay, even with a small group. When it comes to the region boss content, these are open world bosses that require multiple groups to work together to take down. In the footage shown, the maximum group size seems to be 5 players, and given that
Seems pretty cool.
he specifically says multiple groups need to work together, I think this means that you can't make raid groups.
Oh god damn, Riddick, where you at, boy? Look at this. Damn, this is straight from Riddick.
That you can't make raid groups or groups larger than 5 players. Rewards from region bosses is said to be unique equipment linked to the game's lore, and the goal behind the design for the game's single-player content is said to be skill and strategy, and the
Damn, that's some fate attack right there, boys. Oh man. Ah.
content is said to be skill and strategy, and the party-based content is teamwork and
Okay, listen, I love skill and strategy. I don't want a zoomer game, okay? I want a game that rewards me for making the right choice when to press the right button, okay? I want this to be like Lost Ark, okay? You get rewarded for doing the right thing. You get rewarded for figuring out what's the best choice of action.
coordination. When it comes to exploration content, they divided it into two types, player-driven and goal-oriented. The player-driven content, such as labyrinths and time portals,
Oh, I was gonna say, oh no, this looks like New World. And it does. I don't like this.
designed to encourage exploration, and it seems like content you'll
Oh, this is pretty cool.
stumble across
People are gonna rage.
out in the world whilst doing other stuff and act as a rewarding distraction. Labyrinths are time rifts filled with puzzles, platforming and traps, and reward you with treasure if you make it to the end. Time portals allow you to go back in time and gather rare materials and items. Goal-oriented content comes in the form of bounty hunting. Go to the bounty board, select a bounty, then use your chrono detector to track down the target for rewards. The design behind this was to always
Oh, that seems okay. Seems that that's gonna become... Well, everything at some point becomes repetitive in these games.
give players some kind of goal whilst out exploring the world, and during the hunt, players will likely get distracted by other forms of content. For character progression, players can use life skills to gather rare materials and craft high-tier gear that directly impacts their character strength.
This crafting system looks strangely like New Worlds. I don't like that.
Their character strength. Players can then make that gear more powerful via enhancements powered by materials earned through combat, exploration, and gathering. Apparently, there'll be many.
Okay, so let's check the armor a little bit. That wasn't visible. So we have Wisdom, Dexterity, Relentless, damage over time, attack 69. Nice. Destroyer PvP, 4.16 damage boost. Guardian PvP, 60%, 4.16% damage reduction. Okay, so there's a separate stat for PvP and PvE enjoyers, it seems like. I wonder if this is going to lead people to just dominate casuals in PvP, and that's going to make people quit. Again, focusing a game around PvP at the modern days is just a mistake. Everyone is past wanting to play PvP, okay? Yes, I can already hear the people tapping on the keyboard saying, no, people love PvP. No, they don't. No, they don't. Like 10% of the player base of any game probably even remotely cares about PvP. From those 10% that care, probably 5% or less even just engage in it. Lost Ark, PvP completely dead. New World, PvP. Well, PvP is the end game because that's the only thing that those poor souls that are stuck playing that game do. Let's see. World of Warcraft, PvP is alive, but the reality is no one cares at this point. Most people are completely quitting that, and most people who engage it are just buying carries from people. And that's pretty much it. Other games, again, PvP is such a niche thing. A game actually putting effort in trying to develop PvP is kind of wasting its time, honestly, nowadays. And that's just it. That's being me brutally honest. I know some people don't want to agree with it. If you like PvP, then hell, keep liking it. But you're the super minority, sadly, here.
Make that gear more powerful via enhancements powered by materials earned through combat, exploration, and gathering. Apparently.
And one of the things that we saw here was that gear doesn't have set bonuses or anything like that, which is kind of slightly a little bit boring, I guess. Because it's interesting to get a gear not that just goes arrow up, but it's interesting to get a gear piece that actually allows you to change how you play the game. Like, if there's one thing that World of Warcraft does do well, it's do that. But if this skilling system is like Throne and Liberty, then we're gonna have ways to change the way that skills interact and do things anyway. So I guess that's pretty cool.
There'll be many ways to obtain these materials, so you can progress according to your playstyle. In the footage shown, we can see an enhancement system where a piece of gear becomes +1, and the producer mentions that they've reduced the risks tied to enhancements, so that when progression slows, there'll be other ways to get stronger. To me, this just sounds like the
Okay.
game will have an RNG gear enhancement system similar to other Korean MMOs. It's then emphasized that character progression
I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. I'm one of the people who was like, okay, yeah, did my boss, did my reset, did my logout. Now it's time to try and get plus 12 on my weapon or whatever. Missed, didn't get it. Missed 4 times in a row. Well, I'll try again next week. And I'm not mad because of that, okay? So systems like this are personally for me completely fine because I don't get mad about these things. Other people do. Other people get really upset because you spend all this time and well, you get nothing out of it. For me, it's like playing the game that matters, not just the shiny thing at the end of the day. If I get a level up on my equipment piece, that's kind of cool, that's kind of hot. But if I don't, I'm kind of okay with that. I'm kind of okay with that. So this system is completely fine by me, but there are going to be people who really dislike it, and that's understandable.
can be progressed in whichever way suits the player, either via combat or life skills. There'll be some way to obtain materials for progression that suit your playstyle, with the non-combat route
Life skills, that's just crafting professions and whatnot. That's a literal new a lost ark term.
being a viable path to take in this game if that's what you're into. At the end of the interview, they talk about the goal for the upcoming closed beta test, and it's basically to gather feedback and improve the game, whilst focusing on testing the multiplayer stuff. The game isn't perfectly polished, and post-launch they plan to add new regions, classes and content that expand the world and deepens exploration. The producer's message to CBT testers is to not just follow the quest line, and it's not a game about moving from one objective to the next in a straight line. So, what are my thoughts on this new info? Well, during the interview there was definitely a lot of buzzwords thrown around as well as
Okay. I just googled it. Chrono Odyssey classes. So let's see actually everything that we have here because the classes are the stuff that you boys really want, and I can't blame you because same, literally same. So we have the assassin waifu, 10 out of 10. She's going to use a saber, wrist blade, and a musket. Could have been crossbow, but hey, it is what it is. Then we have the berserker. Literally Kratos, battle axe, twin axes, chain blades. Then we have the ranger, bow, crossbow, rapier. Pretty good. Honestly, I don't know. Assassin seems less assassiny than the ranger at this point, but hey, that's fine. Also, how did they look? Okay, so this is gonna be this berserker. Pretty meaty. I kind of like it. This is gonna be the what is this? Swordsman. This is gonna be the soul. Whoa, boys! Damn. Okay, literally damn. What is this? Chrono Odyssey Paladin class. Oh, here's actually written Swordsman, swords and shield, great sword, dual swords. Oh, this is gonna be the thing that people take. Okay. Paladin, mace, stalwart shield, and spear. Oh, spear is so hot, not gonna lie. Sorceress, staff slash spellbook. Only 2 for the sorceress? I mean, look at her. She's literally already my wife tier. That's sad, that's sad. Berserker, twin axes, great axe chain, assassin, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So these are the 6 classes. Pretty good, not gonna lie. Pretty good. Well, in any case,
contradictive statements that confused me quite a lot. Early on, he spoke about how typical MMOs have a main quest line, which made it sound like Chrono Odyssey won't have one, but later on says there is a main quest line, but players can do other stuff aside from that. There was a lot of buzzwords like vast mysterious world, players shape the world, carve out your
player shape the world is BS. It never happens. It never matters if it actually happens. So that's kind of cope, not gonna lie. But Chrono Odyssey in general, no one thought it's actually gonna happen, but here we are. It's a real thing. And it's goddamn exciting. What can I say? Anyway, that was Lazy Peon.